Hello everybody and welcome to the Decks of the Weekend, my weekly video that goes out every Monday where I talk to you about what happened in the weekend. When I open a little window about what happened in the weekend in my town, Senigallia, Italy. You might have seen it on the news. There was a big flood that hurt a lot of people. There were some deaths and a lot of people actually in my area. Their garage got drowned, their house got drowned, so not great. I wasn't able to stream on Friday, but I'm back on Monday. Still some work to do, but I keep my work schedule up. So for the many people that asked me if I was okay, if my family was okay, yes, I don't know personally anyone that got hurt, but of course, that is something to worth addressing. Now, let's go back to Magic the Gathering, which is why you're watching my content is to get some entertainment, some fun in the ordinary life. What is this deck that I have in front of me? Well, it's a classic Living End, one of the best deck in the format. Currently ranked fourth in my power ranking on Channel Fireball. This list came second in the LMS in Paris that happened over this weekend. This player was Alejandro de Puy de Lome, and he came second with a very, very sweet innovation. He had Crashing Footfalls in the sideboard. So what he was doing was main deck. Well, you are a very strong Living End deck. So you have Grief, Force of Negation, and then you just cycle, put all of the things back, you win the game. Plus sideboard, when your opponent brings in the Rest in Peace, the licensors, you switch Living End for Rhinos. You add more interactive cards like Cryptic Command, Fire Ice, Dead Gone, Brazen Borrower. You cut some of the bad cycling cards like Archfiend of Ifnir and the Waker of Waves. Probably also Grief and Street Rate, and you do that switch. It's definitely 3 Cryptic Command in a 75, something that we really don't used to see anymore. So this is a very, very new and revolutionary take on Living End, which will, in my opinion, now forever let you be afraid of bringing in Graveyard Hate. Just imagine you setting 4 Lay on the Void, and then at all they're just a very bad card. If you have any opening end or draw it, they also just do nothing because your opponent is a Crashing Footfalls deck now all of a sudden. I still think that 80 card Your Rhinos is the best Cascade decks just because how consistent it is against the Flaccid Storm in general, because you are a deck that can morph plan very easily, also playing Teferi Time Raveler. But I really like this idea of leaving Rhinos, I called it, and I think it's something that you can level up your opponents with if you're a Living End player. Second deck of the weekend is over to Pioneer, where Mono Red, Jaya Red, won an RCQ in Australia. My friend Anthony Lee lent this deck to our friend Kate Davison, and they went all the way to win the RCQ, beating a lot of Rakdos decks with this deck. If you're interested in watching more of this deck, you can see my last video. It's on the YouTube channel, and I've been impressed with the deck. I didn't have a great record in that league in particular, but I was impressed. This deck plays a grand total of 26 lands with Spike and Shadowskull Smashing, but only 10 of them are Mountain, so you really don't flood very often because you have 4 Dana Bear, 4 Moonbolt, 2 Ravenous Ruins, and 1 Sokanzen. 4 Spike, very good against Llanowar Elf deck. You're playing the mid-range cards of Jaya, Chandra, and Experimental Frenzy. And Frenzy was the card that let her, and Anthony told me that let her win most of the games against Rakdos, because Experimental Frenzy is very powerful in the mid-range matchups. You have a grand total of 4 Roast, 2 main, 2 side to kill the Sheoldred, as well as 4 Lava Coil to kill the Oldgore Troll. So those threats that are impossible to deal with for the Obosh Red, which is also very popular, the one that's playing Phoenix Chick. But yeah, this deck is something that is, I think, underexplored, this more mid-range version of Rajaya Red. I asked Anthony if he had thought about putting Fable of the Mirror Breaker in this deck, because you're going slow. He's gonna tell me more about it on the podcast. We usually record um, on Tuesday, so we're gonna know more about it. And in case you've missed it, the podcast goes out every weekend. It's called Competitive Magic with the Carnies. It's me, Anthony, and Javier, and we're gonna record it tomorrow as well. Yeah, gonna go out usually every Wednesday, but this is the Pioneer deck of the weekend for me. Of course, Mono Green, Rakdos, Grace Fang, they always perform well. Blue Eye Control, they always perform well every weekend. So, but this one's something that definitely I was very happy to see winning because I've been impressed with it the last time I played it. And finally, it's Legacy. I'm not gonna show Pauper because today we have a very big bad announcement in Pauper. The Pauper format panel announced the ban list happening only for that format, so it's gonna be exciting to see how they're gonna address the initiative problem that I have talked about on the podcast last week, on the decks of the weekend last week, and so on. Let's talk about Legacy instead, where I also think something should change, but until then, we got Minsk and Boo that keeps on winning every weekend. I'm not even joking. Every weekend, Minsk and Boo wins both challenges, and this time it was once again by the same player, AnziD. For those of you who don't know AnziD, he's a pillar of the Legacy community. He lives in California. He makes a lot of content. Definitely check him out, AnziD. And he has won back-to-back challenges with 80 cards, Minsk and Boo, 30 lands. The most important land is, of course, Mystic Sanctuary, which I said in the podcast, I think it's the card to ban in Legacy. Of course, many people talk about Iteration Murktide, but I think Mystic Sanctuary is just not nice. And again, I don't talk about bannings very often, but I think it's. I think not that many people address how good this card is and how, like, breaks the game. The fact that a fetch land can be turned into a Mystic Sanctuary, Mystical Tutor. But anyway, talking about this deck and not about ban list as every content creator does. This deck is a control deck. So you're playing Force of Will, you're playing Prismatic Ending, Plow, Terminus. Anzi basically said, I can't fit it all in 60 cards. There's way too many good cards. I'm going to play 80. And turns out he can do that. Yorian, it doesn't blink almost anything in this deck. But what you can do with it is pitch it to Force of Will. And that's a very real benefit. Some people really underestimate the power of just having a Force of Will that costs 3 mana in your hand. And same thing happens in other formats, like again, Modern Your Rhinos. You pick up Yorion and you pitch it to Solitude. It's very real. This deck plays 3 main deck Pyroblast, 1 Carpet plus 3 in the side. You go to 4 Pyroblast, 3 Hydroblast. Again, this deck is very tuned to beat Delver, and it can succeed it because one of the weakness of if you are interested in watching some of this content, it's different deck list from this, but I have played it for Channel Fireball, for color control, Minsk and Boo, and I was very afraid of Surgical on my Uro. That was a play that really set me back since this deck only wins with Uro. So once you kill Uro, you can, like, counter the Minsk and Boo. Endurance sometimes is just a little bit too small, and you just lose the battle against Blue Red Delver, recurring Eternal Expressive Iteration, Mystic Sanctuary, and Daze. This deck, though, plays Expressive Iteration, so can fight that Expressive Iteration Mystic Sanctuary game, as well as, of course, having the late game of Uro, Minsk and Boo, and Narset to stop the opponent from drawing cantrips, as well as getting you to draw more Source of Light and Prismatic Ending and just answers in general. So this is a Monet pile in Legacy, not only because it has a lot of mythic but also because it plays billion dual land and not everybody owns 3 Tundras. Actually, 1 second, because I think Anurag changes mana base. He definitely changed the Terminus for Sadicaster from the other time, but he also added a 4th Tundra, now that I think about it. He added a 2nd Taiga. He really changed his list, now that I think about it. Volcanic Island only 1 this time. Yeah, I guess, again, I am taking a look. What I did was I downloaded the old list, and I have, yeah, there's something different here. I guess it doesn't play Savannah anymore. Okay. So yeah, this is the updated mana base. So if you're looking to build his deck, you should definitely, of course, take the last version. He's playing a couple of Wasteland in this list because he has Life from the Loam. You have to Life from the Loam, Wasteland the Caracas so that your Minsk and Boo can beat Mono White. Minsk and Boo, the Very good Planeswalker, better than Jason My Sculpture, better than almost any other ones because, well, the only Planeswalker here other than Minskenbu are Narset. In fact, I've seen a talk about is the Minskenbu the second best Planeswalker ever. Second best, what's the best one? Random 6 probably, Oko maybe. But yeah, it's probably Oko and then Random 6 I would say because they're both banned and Minsk isn't, and it's never going to be. But yeah, Monopile Legacy also has a Monopile deck, and Anzidi is the champion of back-to-back challenges. Definitely putting this deck on the map. I actually don't have all these cards. I am missing. So I don't know if you know it, but I have a lot of cards. I'm missing the fourth Carpet of Flowers. Guess I'm gonna buy the fourth Carpet of Flowers now if I wanna play 80 card special. All right, thank you everybody for watching. I'll be back every day. Today, of course, at 6 p.m. a video, 6 p.m. Italian time zone. There's gonna be a video, just like every day on the channel. So yeah, don't go anywhere, and have a good day, everybody. Bye bye.